Johnny Bench has tied it up. The Cincinnati Reds win the World Series in 4 straight. It was a sweep.
In the dirt, it's a wild pitch. Here comes Walker. The Reds win the pennant.
Larkins won the game.
That ball is fair. Cincinnati's ahead. 2 games to none.
Welcome Joe Randa to Cincinnati. Adam Dunn has done it again.
Benzinger backing and calling. And the 1990 World Championship belongs to the Cincinnati Reds.
Marty, yes. This is Adam from Milwaukee. Hey, Adam, how you doing? I'm good. How are you? Good. Do you think Scott Chatterbox is a good player?
Dunn up there with the bases loaded, the outfield deep and around toward right, and the 1-0 on the way to the plate. Swung on, long drive, right field, and this one belongs to the Reds.
And a high drive, hit back into deep right field. Junior has just knocked the door down to the 500 club.
Benson's first home run is a walk-off winner. That ball had a family.
And De La Cruz is, oh my goodness, look at this kid run. My, oh my, that is a triple.
Matt McClain's first big league bomb.
Spencer Steer's first big league hit is a home run to straightaway center field. Joey Votto's done it again.
The pitch. Votto swings high in the air. Right field. Yes! He pointed to the dugout to say, I told you. That is Joey Votto's 315th career go-ahead ribby. Only Johnny Bench had more as a Red.
And I can't tell you how much it means to play in front of everyone here in Cincinnati as a Red. What a gift. What a tremendous gift. So thank you. Thank you.
I think I can speak for all of Reds country. Joey Votto, thank you.
High drive. Left center field. Racing back to the Laurent Bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champions. In the air, left center field. Did he? Did he? He did. He did. Reds win. Reds win. Line to the right field. Genius, the first Red ever with 4 home runs in a game. Can you believe it? In the air, down the right field line. Doesn't have a chance. The Reds have won on a 3-run home run on opening day by Ramon Hernandez. A strike away and out away is Homer Bailey. Ground ball to third. Frazier gloves. Throw to first, and Homer Bailey, for the second time in his major league career, has tossed the no-hitter. Oh, gosh. Oh, my God. Are you kidding me? Holy Moses, the second player in major league history to hit 7 home runs in the first 10 games. In the air, and the Reds win. What a dream beginning to the career of Jay Bruce.
Well, it's Sunday, and it is also a winning edition of Chatterbox Reds. You might not believe that because there's not been many of those, but Nick, here we are. I mean, I've said that they were going to have to win 2 or 3 for me to be all the way back in. I can't say I'm all the way there yet, but I think we're one sweep away, and I think they've found the number that is needed. And the fact that you posted that wild card standings kind of helped a little bit too, if we're being completely honest. Also, I'm going to get ahead of this. My guess is you don't have the right mic selected, but I don't know for sure yet.
We got to fix that. No, I have the right one selected.
All right, yeah, you sound great. Never mind. Maybe
okay. All right.
Chat. Maybe he's hot. Perhaps he's we're talking about his mic levels too, to be very clear here, just so we're all clear. Sound good. Chat will let us know if you don't. But Reds win 4-3. Reds win 4-3, and here we are, still alive. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. I mean, I've had us dead. I've had this team dead more times than you can count, and here we go again. I mean, it's It's almost like Easter. We just keep resurrecting. Who knows?
It's not sacrilegious at all. Yeah, I mean it's a wild season. I mean, look, the Reds are one win streak away from getting right back in, one big losing streak away from being completely done. There's not enough time left in the season if you have one more bad stretch. So, I mean, they're still there, they're still kicking, but they would have to play some pretty exceptional baseball over the last 44 games.
What an awesome Sunday that I've had so far. I've obviously watched the Reds play and got a chance to go play a little golf with my son, hit the ball really well. Came home, watched some golf on TV that was like the most unbelievable theatric television you could possibly ever watch. Now, there was nobody on the leaderboard that you'd ever heard of before, but shout out to Grayson Meyer, whatever his name was. He'll never forget August 11th, 2024, and my apologies to him and what he's going through right now. He needs 988. If anyone needs 988, Grayson Meyer, whatever the hell his name is, he had like a 6-stroke lead with like 5 holes to play, and my man got an 8 on a par 4, and then it just fell apart. I mean, there's no other way to say it. But you know what? This is Red Show. I'm gonna stick to the Reds. We'll do the box score recap, but there was a lot of positive things. The Reds played, I thought today, one of the most aesthetically pleasing games that my eyes have seen all year. Might not be like the big high-flying, beautiful game where you win 13-1 or whatever, but this isn't against the Rockies. We played the Brewers, have our number, and we beat the Brewers in what felt like the Brewers game.
Yeah, very Brewers-like. I got to take about Santiago Espinal. He feels like a Brewers player. Ooh. Like Santiago Espinal feels like a Brewers player. But yeah, we'll save that.
Well, he's on the rundown, so you can say that again here in about probably 15, 20 minutes, whoever knows, whenever we get there. But as always, thank to everybody tuning in on a Sunday night edition of Chatterbox Reds. Please hit the like button if you haven't already. I know Mouse Cop's probably already rallying the troops, but please hit the like button. Got 37 likes. We can do probably a little bit better than that. Got some supers we'll get to in just a minute. But before we do all that, we will do the box score recap presented by Nick Kirby.
All right, Reds taking on the Brewers. Reds trying to salvage a game in Milwaukee in the series finale. Nick Lodolo up against DL Hall. Reds traded runners on base in the first and the second innings. And then in the bottom of the second, Nick Lodolo walked Willy Adames. And then Joey Ortiz hit a curveball well out of the strike zone, out of the park, 2-0 Brewers. Score stayed 2-0 going into the fourth. Then in the top of the fourth, Spencer Steer singled to lead off the inning. And then Stuart Fairchild walked. Ty France and Noelvi Marte both struck out, but TJ Friedl was hit by a pitch to load the bases, bringing up Santiago Espinal to the plate. And Espinal had one of the worst strike one calls go against him that we saw all year. But Espinal would end up hitting a changeup out of the strike zone for a single, tied the game up at 2. Friedl did, however, get caught in a rundown to end the inning. And then in the top of the fifth, Tyler Stevenson crushed a solo home run. His 15th of the season. Reds took a 3-2 lead. Then in the bottom of the sixth, Nick Lodolo gave up a walk and a double, and his day would be done. He left runners on second and third with 1 out. Buck Farmer came in. He gave up a single to Willy Adames, which tied the game and put runners on the corners. The next batter, Blake Perkins, hit a weak chopper that looked like it would score the go-ahead run for the Brewers, but second baseman Santiago Espinal made an incredible play, throwing on the run to gun down the runner at the plate and keep the game tied. Then the next batter hit a ball bounced to the left side that Noelvi Marte made a tough play, also throwing on the run. Barely got the runner out at first base. We stay tied at 3. Then the top of the seventh, Santiago Espinal right in the middle of it again. He singled. Ellie De La Cruz was intentionally walked. Tyler Stevenson drew a walk to load the bases. Spencer Steer hit a sac fly. Reds take a 4-3 lead. Sam Moll threw a scoreless inning in the seventh. Emilio Pagan in his return threw a scoreless eighth. And then Alexis Diaz was as dominant as we saw all year. He threw a perfect ninth, striking out 2. Reds win 4-3. Reds now 57-61 on the season. Reds in a streak of 9 consecutive losses on a Sunday. And at the moment, Reds are somehow, some way, 4.5 out of a playoff spot with 45 games to play.
And thank you to Tyler Stevenson for the deep drive of the day, sponsored by DSC. It was his 15th home run of the year. And holy smokes. I mean, I knew Sunday was special. I knew it. This was one of the best Sundays of all time. Are you kidding? I woke up, I went to church, and I was thinking to myself, oh, holy Jesus, please. Let Austin Hendricks have his day too. We all need help. Austin Hendricks, you gotta be kidding me. 2 bombs, 2 home runs. He's all the way back. He's all the way back. What is he, like top 10 in MLB pipeline now? I hope so. Boy, it's been coming. Austin Hendricks, I am so thankful for him. He needs to get a little skincare, but besides that, maybe shave the goatee, and outside of those 2 things, he'll be right back on track. The DSC Deep Drive of the day, I've never been more honored in my life than to give it to Austin Hendrick. Boy, oh boy, I can't believe it. Talk about a leader. DSC's a leader in renewable commodities for biofuel production, specializing in used cooking oil collection, aggregation, and sales. Visit www.deepsouthcommodities.com for more information. And thank you to John. Thank you so much to John for letting me have that moment right there. I didn't even know that was coming. I don't check in with the lookouts. Believe it or not, I don't check in on Austin Hendricks. But man, oh man, Austin Hendrick delivered when he needed it the most. And I tell you what, I don't know if they won or lost. I don't give a damn. We're all the way back now. I mean, I am all the way back. I was thinking about fixing the drywall as my ode to the season being over. Nope. We're going to have to go another day. Sweep the Cardinals, by the way. That feels like it's possible now. Wow, 2 home runs. I didn't think that was ever possible. My gosh. Kudos to you, Tyler. By the way. Kudos to you. You didn't even ruin that or nothing. You didn't even spoil it. You just had that. You had that in the bag. Oh, that was a great moment. Great moment of Chatterbox Reds right there, especially for the OGs that get the inside drift of Austin Hendrick. Anyways, Reds defense. We'll go from 2 bombs from Austin Hendrick to defense. Tonight, by tonight I mean today, I have some there was some life that was breathed back in me. Like I just it's nice to watch a team make plays that save runs and don't cost themselves in the field. It seems like the opposite. And you know what I'm going to say about the defense? The play by Espinal, certainly great play. The play by Marte, certainly great play. 2 plays that are going to go kind of unnoticed are the double plays. The double plays that they turned today. Those weren't easy double plays. Now, they might have made them look easier because you had 2 guys up the middle that are, above average infielders. Defensively, of course. And I don't know, Nick. Like, it's just it was a breath of fresh air watching this baseball team play today, especially on the defensive side. And I don't know if this showcases what they could be in the future or not, but I certainly hope that it might be.
Yeah, I mean, you said it earlier. Kind of felt like beating the Brewers at their own game today. Just absolutely a breath of fresh air watching this defense. Watched a lot of bad defense for a lot of years from the Cincinnati Reds. Today was a great day. Look, Jonathan India's had a great year. Jonathan India's been an incredible revelation for this team. But if Jonathan India was playing second base today, I think the Reds lose.
Yeah, you came out firing there. Yeah. It's not. I tell you what. Like I've sat here and I've fought the fight with India because I think India at one point has been undervalued by some of us. I'll say us. I don't want to speak for everyone, but us. We undervalued him a little bit. He was thrown back into the mix because of injuries, clearly. But you watch a game like today, and you long for a great second baseman. And I'm at the point now, Nick, where it feels like that's where this team should go. And they should just try to give India reps at a position that he might kind of be a part of this franchise if they're in a position where they are what I would call fighting for division championships and league championships and, dare I say, World Series. But I don't ever see a scenario, and I'm not trying to crush India for saying this, but this is this is my just God's honest belief. I don't see a scenario where Jonathan India is playing every day at second base for your team, and you are in a position where you're probably going to be one of the better teams in the league, because that position, in my opinion, again, is too important to have a guy that is as low or as below defensive. His defensive ability is low as Jonathan India's. And you know what? Like, I've tried to defend India a little bit by saying, oh, it can't be that bad. Listen, this isn't about Jonathan India struggling as of late. This is more or less just like watching the game. There are things that happen in a game that you can't even, I don't think, put a statistic on. The double play turns. Clearly, there's a statistic this year that the Reds are dead last in double plays. And today they turned 2 of them, and they wouldn't have turned either one of them if India was playing second base, in my opinion. And the other thing, too, like, no one noticed this because I don't know if it's in a box score type situation, but Eldy caught a relay where the slow runner for, I can't think of the guy's name, but anyway, the Brewers had the slow runner. It was the ball in the gap. Sanchez. So Sanchez is trying to score from first base. He probably scores on most guys. They decided to hold Sanchez because Elly was just catching the ball as a cutoff. So they decided to pass on it. And, ultimately maybe it didn't matter. But my point is like, those are the types of things that you just take for granted. And today, I think you take the play that, like, put it this way. If Espinal makes that play that he makes, and he makes that routinely, we take that for granted. We took for granted Brandon Phillips, in my opinion. I think we all love Brandon Phillips and thought he was great defensively. But if you don't have Brandon Phillips every day, you don't know what you're missing. So I guess my point in saying in a roundabout, long-winded way is that I just really would hope that next year we go into a season with guys that are either at least, at minimum, average defenders or above average defenders in key spots. Center field, shortstop, second base, catcher, maybe first base or third base if we want to be greedy, but specifically those positions.
Yeah, look, Jonathan India has done everything the Reds have asked him this year and gone above and beyond. He's been much better defensively than I thought he was going to be. Now, he didn't have a high bar, but look, Jonathan India did great this year.
Yeah, he did.
Like, all the kudos in the world to him. But the Reds made a big mistake, in my opinion, when they had the brutal sequence of McLean getting hurt and then Marte getting suspended, going away from their plan. They made a big mistake, and now they're kind of, I don't know if they're paying for it or what, but now you're in a spot where what do you do with Jonathan India? Well, sure, DH him, but you also have Ty France, who's looked pretty good and looks like he could provide some real pop for this team. You have Jamer Candelario, who can't play defense.
Right. He can't play defense.
You have to play. Both of those guys have to be first base and DH, so you really kind of are in a tough spot, and I don't really think it would be very fair or even, I don't know, a positive gain to just throw Jonathan India on the outfield after not getting reps all year out there. So I think the Reds made a pretty big mistake here. I said when the Reds acquired Espinal, they should just play him every day at second base, keep the same plan with India. I kind of cowered on it a little bit, to be honest, when Espinal had that brutal month of April and India got hot. But I think my initial thought there was right. You should have just rode with Espinal all year. You should have rode with what would have got you the better defense. And the Reds lost a lot of one-run games this year. And you have no idea.
No, you don't.
How many defensive plays
I'll say this. They would have lost today. They'd have lost today. So.
And I don't know. Is there another win? Another 2 wins? I mean, one more win right now is huge. Just one win right now is completely, you're 3.5 games back. That's a lot closer. 2, you're 2, you know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah, it makes a difference.
So I think they made a pretty big mistake on that, and now they're kind of in a tough spot. Where what do they do? I'm assuming they saw the same thing we did today.
Have to.
I can't imagine they watched the game and went, "Oh yeah, I mean that's definitely a lot better team out there." And
right.
Like Nick Lodolo wasn't great today, and Reds were able to get a win because of the defense. He didn't need Nick Lodolo to be absolutely great.
Well, you compound the air, if you want to call it that, by not only do you play India at second base pretty much virtually every day, you also have Candelario playing third base for a considerable amount of time when he clearly isn't capable of playing even remotely close to, in my opinion, average third base. And I don't really give a damn what outs above average and everything else says. And maybe it supports what I'm saying or doesn't. I'm just watching the games. Espinal could have been playing third base, I guess. Whether he's playing second base or third base, be my guest. But we've said this before. The thing that stinks about Espinal is that he got off to such a terrible start that it was really hard to kind of just push him in and slot him into the lineup each and every single day. And what you realize that you probably have missed all along is that if you're not going to get above average consistency out of the offensive side of whoever you stick out there, then it's not worth losing what you're essentially losing with Espinal playing defense. Like, I'd rather have him out there every day defensively and live with the result of that you might have an automatic out in your lineup. But I got to be honest, like, people are going to hate me for saying this too, but like, Candelario and India have been automatic outs in this lineup for basically all year long outside of a month and a half stretch for each of them. And all accounts, the month and a half stretch where they weren't automatic outs, they were on fire. Like, they were league leaders. But again, like, what you gain on the offensive side, sometimes when you watch a game like today, you realize that maybe you're not gaining nearly enough for what you lose on the defensive side. It'd be one thing, like Tyler Stevenson, we all can agree, especially lately. He's next on the rundown. We'll get into him now. Is like, he's playing more than well enough behind the plate defensively. We know in our heart of hearts, Tyler Stevenson defensively isn't really on par with what you would consider a good big league catcher. But he's close enough where what you get at the plate, it's worth it. Now, I don't know if that's the case for everybody. That's my point. Stevenson, again, today, obviously the home run's great, but even maybe more importantly, in the situation and the spot, was the at-bat that he put together. He took a couple close pitches. It just seems like he's more comfortable at the plate. And the other thing, too, like I've said this all along, I think Tyler Stevenson's a very, very good hitter when he stays within himself. And he does what Tyler Stevenson did when he first came up, which is probably not going to have a lot of power pulling the baseball, but he can hit a backside bomb. He's capable of doing that. And I hope he continues to do that and doesn't realize or doesn't think that he has to be something he's not. Because what he is now, what he's been this year, is more than good enough, Nick.
Yeah. I'd like to go back to Espinal, just for a second.
Sure.
Couple points on him. So he had that obviously really bad April. Since May 1st, and this is not counting today, he's got a 100 WRC plus. So he's been a league average hitter since May 1st. That's not me trying to cut at a perfect time that fits him well. I just straight since May 1st. And you take off the first month of him getting traded for the first time to a new team, literally a couple days before the season, and he's been a solid player. The thing that I've been pretty steadfast since we've done this show is small sample sizes for these defensive numbers are bad. It's not good. Like, these defensive numbers, like outs above average, defensive runs saved, you need multiple years of data. And I know everyone jumped when Jonathan India was +6 and was like, wow, that's such a huge upgrade. Well, he's down to +2. So he was a +6 at one point. He's already down to +2. Defensive runs saved, the other statistic, never agreed with that. They have him at -9 right now. So, like, I think there has been some improvements with Jonathan India, but I think that was just it's a small sample error. There's no way that that Jonathan India is a better defender than Santiago Espinal. That's where you can get a little bit lost in, like, outs above average. But Santiago Espinal has had a season where he was +9, and he played every day. Right. That's where you got to be very careful. You need to use multiple years of data. Santiago Espinal over his career is a +8. Jonathan India is a -30. I mean, that's what you need to look at a lot more than these small samples, because you can find it all across baseball. You'll find some really wonky stuff, and just because it hasn't had enough time to correct itself.
Yes, and listen, you can paint a picture with analytics or statistics more times than not, whichever way you want, unless it's really bad. watch the game, you know? I mean, just watch the game. And I think if you watch Espinal play for at least a considerable amount of time, and I'd say 10-plus games out of position, and you watch name Candelario and or India at their said position for 10-plus games, it doesn't take somebody with an astute baseball mind to look and just think, well, this is a little bit different. I mean, even the double play today that Espinal fed Ellie, it again, it might not look like a big deal to everybody, but like that's a really good play, like a really good feed. It took a good turn by Ellie, and they made it look relatively effortless and easy. And I'm not saying making it look effortless is the only thing that matters, but it certainly points to what the higher end capabilities are of a defender when they make things look effortless. And Espinal is a much more pleasant to the eye defender than any of the guys that we've named before. So we'll see ultimately what the Reds end up doing. I say the hell with it. This isn't about India or trashing India or anything like that. I just want to put India in a position that when we start to play what I would consider meaningful baseball games with all of our guys, we all know that he's not playing second base. So why the hell are we acting like it? Like, why are we doing this? And I'm not trying to trash India. I'm just saying in general terms that Jonathan India will not be playing second base if we are basically have a full cupboard of options. And the truth is we haven't this year, and he's done an admirable job, and that's fine. But it's almost like we've got to football around the corner. It's almost like we're on our third string running back, and we've taken a wide receiver and we stick him at running back, and it's like he's not doing too bad as a running back. But you look at it all and you're like, he's not a good running back. I mean, he's not a good running back, but he's doing an okay job. Okay, well, let's put him somewhere when the chips fall where they may, and everything actually becomes, somewhat clear as to what the plan is, which is either McLean being there, maybe it's Espinal, maybe it's somebody else. But I'm going to say this. If Jonathan India is playing second base every day, again, for this baseball team, whether it's towards the end of this season or whether it's next season, we have a relatively unserious front office when it comes to their caring about being defense as a main priority, which you'd like to think that it would be a main priority when you watch the Brewers play and dominate this division year in and year out. So there's that. Tyler Stevenson deserves flowers. I was trying to give him to them. I know you jumped back in Espinal. It's fine. Anything else to add about Tyler? He's been great this year, and kudos to him for bouncing back.
Yeah, 15 home runs, man. Just wow. I mean, that's awesome for him. Doesn't seem like he's slowing down either. I say that with, I knock on wood, but, Tyler Stevenson, it would be almost understandable if, he did kind of slow down as this year goes on, being a catcher offensively, but it seems like he's playing his best baseball right now. We'll see. It's still a lot of season left, still a long 44 games to go, but 112 WRC plus. Just, yeah, awesome season from Tyler Stevenson. Definitely, we talked about it yesterday. He's one of the three, I think, cornerstones that you feel really comfortable right now going forward with Ellie and Friedel.
And the beautiful thing is that anybody will tell you that the middle of the diamond is the most important when it comes to your baseball team. And the three guys that we said are middle of the diamond guys, and the one spot that we aren't sure about you could argue is our best play, or nah, I won't say it like that, but could argue he was one of our best players when healthy in McLean. So listen, I think you bring up a valid point more times than not when things get negative around here, that it's like it's not as bad as it's perceived to be. This team isn't as far away as maybe we think they are at times. But again, that's all what ifs and hope. So they got to actually do it. We'll see if they can. But Tyler Stevenson being a guy that we can rely on is 100% going to be needed moving forward if we want to be a relatively serious contender. All right, jumping down into the next set here, we have the Game Time app. As always, please download the Game Time app if you're looking to maybe go to a ball game or a concert. Maybe it's something else, not always a ball game. More times than not, for those that watch this show and ourselves and me and Nick, we are going to a ball game. But if you're going to use it, Download the Game Time app and use code CINCY, C-I-N-C-Y. You get $20 off your first purchase. That's CINCY, C-I-N-C-Y. $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. So download the Game Time app. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised if you've never used it before. Genuinely. Good app. 988, as always, Grayson Meyer. I don't know the guy's name. I genuinely, if you have any interest in golf or sports, just Google the PGA tournament today, and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's what a just a horrible day for him. So 988 for those that might need it. Text, call anytime, and mantherapy.org. There's always a reference to use. Bookmark it if you need it. All right. Nick Lodolo today wasn't great. But I guess we'll just say what we always say. I mean, good enough. It wasn't the pitching performance or the starting pitching performances we became accustomed to last season, where if you got through 4 or 5 innings and you gave up five runs or less, it was good enough by us. I don't know what else you make of Lodolo, but bullpen picked him up.
Yeah, I mean, he surprisingly only got 4 swing and misses today. That seems almost impossible for Nick Lodolo going as long as he did into the game. I just think he's, going through a full season for the first time in his career. I mean, he's been healthy all year except for, that minor 2-week IL stint and then the blister. So this is the first time we've really seen him pitching deep into a season. I think he's just going through what Hunter Green had to go through. Right. Figuring out how to pitch. He made some pitches today. His defense really picked him up. If Santiago Espinal doesn't make that play though, he has a 4 earned run performances and it feels completely different. That's the fun thing about talking about these guys post game is, one guy makes a play, one guy doesn't make a play. Their entire stat line looks different. So the margin for error is always so thin. But yeah, this was his 19th start today that tied his career high, which was 2022. So his next start will be the first time he's ever made 20 starts in a big league season.
Which is obviously a huge accomplishment and a positive for this team. I mean, I think when we were in spring training, which seems like ages ago, the thing that we were all hoping for the most is what we got. And we kind of overlooked maybe the health on the position player side, but we were all hoping for the starting pitching to stay healthy. And some of that was because of what we went through the season prior. It's just a weird kind of Jekyll and Hyde kind of team we got. We go from one thing that we think's a huge problem to it being fixed to then there's another problem somewhere else. And hopefully at some point it all clicks. We get the right season with everything going the right way, but we've stayed healthy from a starting pitching perspective pretty much all season. And I'm knocking on wood as saying that, but it's been great. And the bullpen's been great too. Mole came in and he even kind of got a little bad luck there. He got a chopper over the middle, and Espinal and Ellie kind of had a little miscommunication. I would have loved for Espinal to know where Ellie was and let Ellie take that ball. But again, when you don't play with each other a whole lot, those things might happen. But he bounces back through it, gets a double play, and marches on. And Diaz has been unbelievable. I mean, he's been literally as good as you can be. And I know that he at times has caused me significant stress. And there was one time in particular where I was about sick and tired of watching it. But I'll openly say I was wrong about Diaz, and that he's, I don't say turned it around because he never really lost it. But he's just been incredible. I mean, not to start this down again, but he has to have some value. The Reds should consider what that value is. But at the same time, I can't believe he's been this good, if we're being completely honest.
Yeah, since May 19th, that's almost 2 months. He's got a 2.15 ERA. So he's been really good. And I mean, again, and a lot of the earned runs that he allowed were in. I mean, 4 of the earned runs that he allowed this season came in a game the Reds were down 11-1. So his ERA has kind of been inflated. I mean, I think there was a couple others There was a game he gave up 2 runs. Reds were down 6 runs when he came in. So both of those were 2 of his 3 worst outings of the year in games that didn't even matter. So, you watch Devin Williams on Saturday night and you're like, man, be nice to have a guy like that. And Alexis Diaz is not on Devin Williams level, but I wonder how Brewers fans feel about Alexis Diaz. Like, do they look at him and go, man, that guy's really good, man. We can't hit him. Like,
Right.
kind of like we do with Devin Williams. I'm not sure because he's really good and he's got the job done almost every time he's been really needed to this year.
Diaz, by me, is probably the guy that's done his job the absolute best and has gotten unfair criticism from me more than anybody on this team. I think. I'm thinking through everybody, and I think that's by far and away the most 100% accurate thing I've said. So at this point, I don't know what Diaz is ultimately going to hold moving forward, but I just wanted to openly say, like, he's been literally as good as you could humanly ask out of a closer all season long. And I hate to say this, but it's like, you go into next season and again you're trying to figure out what voids there may be or what you need, and it's like, I just hope that the things that we've become accustomed to thinking are solid stay solid. And he's just the one guy that I keep having reservations about, but here we are. So I hope that he continues to prove me wrong. I like I said, I'll gladly be wrong if it means that Diaz continues to perform. Anything else to add?
So the Reds bullpen, I saw it watching another game last night. The Reds were like 5th in ERA. They put it up on the broadcast.
Yeah.
And I look up and down our bullpen, and I'm just like,
yeah,
I don't really know how this team's 5th in Major League Baseball in bullpen ERA.
Well, I mean, here's the crazy thing about this bullpen, and I was thinking about this the other day. Like, does every team feel this way about all their guys? Because I would make a case. I'd make a strong case. Outside of maybe a few guys that aren't on the team anymore, that are either on the injured list or they're somewhere else. If they came into a close game, a relatively close game, people might think I'm wrong. I wouldn't be. I'd be confident. I would genuinely be confident in them bringing out name the player, literally name the player, and I would feel relatively confident. I mean, even Buck Farmer. I mean, everybody gives Buck Farmer a lot of, I don't know, vitriol. He's been good. I mean, he's been very good. And Sam Moll's been unbelievably good. I don't know if people realize how good Sam Moll's been. Justin Wilson's had from time to time. Diaz has been incredibly good. Cruz, and I know he struggled a little bit, has been incredibly good. So yeah, Pagan looked really good today. I don't know how you felt about him, but I mean, he was throwing some darts. So we're going to add Nick Martinez. I haven't forgot about him, but I feel like he's a starter now. But just point is he was in the bullpen. They've all been incredibly good, and that's how you get to the 5th best ranked ERA bullpen in baseball, I guess.
Martinez actually said that probably did inflate that ERA quite a bit because, like, what did he give up, like 1 run as a reliever all year, and he threw like 4 innings at a time. So it might be a little bit inflated, but yeah, I mean, look, like Buck Farmer 2.50 ERA. It's just, you look at the Reds bullpen, and yes, there's no weak links, which is why it's been so good. But it's also like they don't really have just 5 guys that are just absolutely disgusting either. So it's an interesting bullpen that's kind of been, I think, a better as a collective than individually.
Yeah. I mean, people obviously sometimes I try to keep a good eye on the chat. The idea of thinking that Cruz isn't like, Cruz was so good for so long, folks, that you got to give him a little bit of grace here. I mean, he's also pitched an absurd amount of innings. So I'm trying to be relatively honest about what Fernando Cruz contribution to this team was, and it was pretty damn good. Like I'll sign up for a Fernando Cruz if you give me I don't care the name, but you give me Fernando Cruz's type production out of the bullpen, and I'll sign up for that every single year. So I'm not out on Fernando Cruz.
I think there's 29 other teams that would love to have Fernando Cruz in their bullpen right now. Guy that's striking out 14 batters per 9 innings. And he looked really good. His last 2 times out, 2 perfect innings, struck out 2 batters in each. So, they were lower leverage situations, but I'm sure there's going to be a spot coming up where he's going to get another big spot in a big game, and it'll be interesting to see if he can kind of, get back on track. Reds have used him a little bit less of late, so I don't know. I hope that he can just kind of get past the fatigue. But, he's a really good pitcher. And a lot of Fernando Cruz's, peripheral numbers still look really good. Like, he has a 3.11 FIP on the year. So he's had a couple games where, just didn't go his way, but I still believe in Fernando Cruz. I just don't know how much is left in the tank in 2024.
We'll see. I mean, they're going to keep using him. I'm pretty sure of it. So we'll find out. We'll find out. All right, jumping into the wild card race. This is kind of what it's looking like as we sit here today. It's pretty bunched up right around that third spot. You're going to have probably a significant amount of teams heading into the final week and a half thinking they have a puncher's chance. Reds sit 4.5 games back. Got the Cubs, the Giants, and the Cardinals right in front of them, I should say, with the Braves and Mets tied with the last wild card record at 61 and 56. Nick, I don't know, as you look through those teams and you kind of get an idea of where the Reds stand, they're going to play the Cardinals here coming up. They got the Cubs clearly a couple more times being a divisional opponent. You finish the year off, you got a chance to play against the Braves. So the Reds, for lack of a better term, they got a puncher's chance. I don't know how good of a chance they got, truthfully, but the fact that we're sitting here on August 11th still talking about a wild card race is actually pretty damn impressive.
Yeah, I mean, this week is a good test for the Reds because the 2 teams that they're playing this week are the 2 teams that they have struggled with the most, the teams that are a few games over 500. That's the teams that just have killed the Reds season. So, and look, I mean, you win some games this week, you're going to pick up ground on someone quite a bit because obviously the Reds are playing the Cardinals. It's a team that they could catch up with that's in the middle of that mix, but the Braves and Giants play each other 4 times, so someone's got to lose. So you win. I mean, you somehow sweep the Cardinals, you're going to be moving quite a bit up on something in those standings, and maybe those 2 teams will split. Wow, then you could really make some hay. So I think the Mets, as I look, they're down 12-1 right now to the Mariners. I think they're probably the dangerous team there. The Braves just feel like a team that's about to fall off a cliff, but we have seen teams that look like they're about to fall off a cliff somehow, find a way to get back on track. The Giants are pretty scary too. Obviously, we saw how dominant their pitching is, but a lot of their pitchers have struggled to stay healthy. So that's, are they going to stay healthy the rest of the year? I don't know. No one knows. Padres and Diamondbacks, I think that ship sailed. I don't see the Reds catching either one of those teams. They're too far back. There's not enough games.
Yeah, not enough games is probably going to be the issue here if you're a Reds fan. The only capability they have is to do something that we've talked about before, which is if they go and sweep the Cardinals, you're tied with the Cardinals. Let me make sure that's right. They would be tied with the Cardinals, yeah? D7, yeah, they'd be tied with the Cardinals. You get yourself back in a position where you're just right around 500. That's what's going to have to happen. They're going to have to play good baseball and have a sweep or 2 against meaningful teams, against teams that you got to catch. And we'll see. I mean, it doesn't feel like they have a great chance, but it feels like they have at least some semblance of a chance is kind of the way I look at it. So
And they play every single team that's ahead of them outside of the Giants the rest of the way. Yeah. So they'll have a chance to pick up 3 games or more at a time. The Reds still have 4 games against the Atlanta Braves still to play this year. They still have a couple series with the Cardinals, still have games with the Cubs. So still have a 3-game series with the Mets. So, I mean, you're going to have chances to climb back in and take a big chunk out at once. But these are the teams the Reds haven't beat all year. So they would have to flip that narrative.
Well, it feels like they're due, if anything. So, I mean, they shouldn't be this bad against teams that basically are the same as them. I mean, I don't know, but at the same time, you watch this team play long enough, and nothing will surprise you. So, all right, jumping down the line here, we already got the Lookouts. They almost had a hell of a day. They had 2 bombs from Austin Hendrick. I didn't forget. We'll jump into Reds MILB. Who knows? Who knows? It's a shame Shang-An Lin isn't on the rundown tonight because that would have been an all-timer. But you know what? I guess we'll stick with Sammy Stafura and whoever else we want to kind of get out there. Take it away, Nick. Reds MILB presented by you.
I miss Shang-An Lin. It's just it's not the same. Not looking at the box scores.
Definitely not.
Out of the complex league. It's left a void in my life. I'm not gonna lie. All right, Triple-A. Louisville, they won 4-3 over Charlotte. They won on a walk-off double from Edwin Rios after Zach Maxwell actually blew a save. Bats have now won 4 of 5. Resigns 1 for 4, did walk and stole a base, his 16th of the season. Joey Weimer on base 3 times. Blake Dunn 1 for 5. Avon Johnson had a great day, 2 for 4. Hit a homer, his 9th of the season between Double-A and Triple-A, and also doubled. Had 3 hard hit balls. He's now hitting 295 with a 928 OPS since he got promoted to Triple-A. Tucker Barnhart still searching for that first hit. He's 0 for 3 with a walk. And as mentioned, Zach Maxwell blew the save. He gave up 4 hits. First time he's done that since August 5th of 2023. Now, only one of those hits were actually hard hit balls. Didn't walk anyone, though, so I'd rather see Zach Maxwell giving up 4 hits than 4 walks for sure. Lyon Richardson, 3 innings, 1 run, did walk 3, struck out 3. And then the feel-good moment of the day, Casey Kelly threw 3 shutout innings in his Louisville Bats debut. That is Pat Kelly's son. All right, Austin Hendrick hit 2 home runs, and Chattanooga still lost. They followed at 32-74 on the year. They have now lost 7 of 8. Third multi-home run game for Austin Hendrick, his first since August 29th of last season. But a really cool story developing down at Chattanooga is Tyler Callahan, 2 for 4. He's now 8 for 15 since he got activated off the IL, and he was crushing it before he went on the IL. So a guy to watch, former top 30 prospect. Really hoping he can finish this year strong and maybe be one of those guys, maybe along with Avon Johnson, that kind of can help build some depth for the Reds. Andrew Moore out of the bullpen. He threw 2 shutout innings, struck out 4. All right, Lake County, Dayton, they fell 5-2 to Lake County. The Dragons had their 4-game win streak snapped, now 10 games over 500 on the year. Hector Rodriguez is struggling, 0 for 4, now hitting a $135 in August. Carlos Jorge, 0 for 2, did walk and steal a bag, but he actually left the game with an injury. He's kind of had a lot of injury stuff this year. Ethan O'Donnell, 1 for 3, stole 2 bags, got 22 now on the year. He's hit safely in 13 of his last 14 games. And then Leo Balcazar, 1 for 4. Cam Collier, he got the day off. And then Daytona, they fell 4-1 to Tampa. The Tortugas had their 5-game win streak snapped. They missed out on an opportunity for their first ever 6-game series sweep in franchise history today. Sammy Stafura, 0 for 2 with a pair of walks. Ricardo Cabrera was 0 for 4. Eastman Pineda on base twice, but he was pinch run for in the 4th inning. He legged out a single. He was kind of slightly grabbing his leg. The next batter had a couple pitches, and then they decided to pull him from the game, but he did walk off the field on his own. So hopefully not anything of major concern. Pineda's been hitting really well of late. And then Yerlin Confidant on base 3 times. So that's your Reds MILB.
That it is a very excellent job by you. And as always, if you're looking for the Reds MILB, probably in great lengths, tonight Usually you get a pretty good version considering the games have finished and finalized. But as always, you can check out the podcast. Download it on any of the podcast platforms. Give it a rating. Give it a review if you've not already. And also, shout out to all the supers. Shame on me for not getting to them relatively earlier. I could have done that and sometimes just lose track. So shame on me. Ned Flanders chimes in. He says, Santiago Espinal's play on Sunday is almost as good as a year with a positive run differential. Hashtag Espinal is electric. It's a pretty good point. I mean, Espinal, it was Espinal's game today. I mean, Espinal made everything happen, and he helped the Reds win. Outside of a Stevenson home run, but otherwise, Espinal was the guy. What else was I going to say here? Daniel Meyer chiming in says, I'm sad we didn't take advantage of trading India because of the 1 month of good baseball. He's had 2 good months of baseball in his career. Listen, I'm hesitant to kill India for that because I think a lot of times if you look over people's years, Major League Baseball's years, there usually is a really good hot stretch of baseball that most guys have, and then they kind of play maybe even a little bit below league average outside of the superstars. You eliminate the superstars from what I'm saying. Most of the players, though, in Major League Baseball, they have a good run, a good stretch of baseball, and then it's from there, how well can they hold on to the run that they had and keep it to where it stays premier, or do they just completely drag it down by abysmal play? India's obviously struggled at times. We all know that. And he's clearly struggled as of recent. Thing about it is, like, other teams, I don't know how much they valued India either, and the Reds were in a tough spot where, like it or not, India's a fan favorite. You couple the fact that where he's a quote-unquote team leader, and I'm not trying to downplay that by any stretch of the imagination, but let's just call it for what it is. And you might not be getting much in return for India, so the Reds just decided to pass. I don't know. But if they ever got anything of what we would deem as relatively significant returns, a relatively top-level prospect, maybe a top 100 prospect, they'd be idiots not to do it, but I don't think they ever got that opportunity. So Joshua Mao says, if the Reds win and the Braves lose tomorrow, 3.5 back. That's how it works, Joshua. That's how it works. Let's hope they do that a couple times. We need to get back to 500. That's kind of where I'm at. I'm all for scoreboard watching. Nick does it every night. I'm all for it. My only thing is, like, let's just get back to 500. You get back to 500, and I don't care what other teams do, you're going to have a chance with about 2 weeks left, which is all I can ask for at this point because I thought we were completely dead. Let's get back to 500. We'll see if we can. Justin Edgel. He's a nut cutter. He said, I'm still up here at Woodstock 24 in Westchester. Reds suck. I don't know what that means. Did I miss an inside joke on that? I don't know what Woodstock in Westchester is. Is that like a legit thing? Is that the thing that's at well, that's not in Westchester. Is the Voice of America Park in Westchester? Or is that Mason? Regardless, is that what he's talking about? I have no clue what he's talking about. Nonetheless, Ned Flanders then chimes back in and says Diaz's strikeout of Willie Adames was the best moment of the weekend. Maybe so. I thought the Reds, Espinal making the backhanded play to get the guy out at home. That was on the contact play. I can't believe the Brewers are idiots and do the contact play. But they got him out on the contact play. And, my favorite thing about that whole thing is one pitch later, Nick, I don't know if you noticed, but the Brewers had the exact same situation they would have had if they didn't go home. So it's kind of weird. It's almost like, man, that was probably part of the plan. If you get thrown out at home, you have first and third, you just steal second base because you realize the Reds probably aren't going to throw to second base with the go-ahead run at third base. Just a thought.
It reminded me of the other day when the Reds did score on the contact play. And yeah, like pointed out, and then the next batter, TJ Friedel homered. So it's like, okay, well, even if they wouldn't have scored, the exact same result happened. So it is funny that people forget that there is still a runner that gets on base. Yeah. Just you'd lose a base, and that's the trade-off,
right?
Of getting a chance at getting an easy run.
Yeah, you give up a base hit, it could matter. We all agree. If you give up a base hit after you get thrown out on the contact play, it could matter. or you could just steal second base. Let's see here. All right, that's that. All right, we got rituals. My pizza cold? No, pizza's not cold, Molly. Pizza's not cold. I already ate that pizza, so we're good there. Nick, you got hopefully you got that Nicolas Cage pillow somewhere laying around. Yeah, you just do it in real time. That's good. Nice. We need a lot of those. We need Nicolas Cage to come out. Nice. Didn't roll to the side. None of that action. So good. Kudos to you. All right, chat. As always, thank you very much for supporting us and our show. I'm getting ripped in the chat. I guess turns out that VOA is doing a country thing and not Woodstock, but that's here nor there. But we do have who, what, when, where, and why left, and this is a huge series. Some are saying the biggest series of the season.
Yeah, Reds taking on the Cardinals. Cardinals come in 60-58. Losers in one straight. Series will be Abbott against Sonny Gray on Monday, 6:40 start times. Gross. We're back to those. Tuesday, Hunter Green against Eric Fetty. And then Wednesday, Carson Spires against TBD. Most likely Kyle Gibson. All games at 6:40. A little bit more on tomorrow's game. Andrew Abbott got a career 6.10 ERA in 4 starts against the Cardinals. Arenado has 2 homers against them. Contreras and Gorman each have a homer as well. Sonny Gray having a great year, struggling a little bit of late. 5.21 ERA since July 1st. Gray is 0-2 with a career 3.75 ERA against the Reds. Reds got 7 hits and 6 runs. Only 3 of them were earned earlier in the year. Active Reds, 8 for 37. No one has taken Gray deep. So 6:40 tomorrow. Plenty of tickets still available.
And if you're going to get tickets, go to the Game Time app as always. Check it out. I bet you can get in there relatively affordably. Just saying. All right, folks. Well, I had the season dead. I'm not going to sit here and act like I didn't. I had it as dead as they come, but turns out I was wrong. Turns out there's still more baseball to be played, and maybe the Reds have a puncher's chance. Maybe they do. Shout out to all the kids that have to go to school tomorrow. Sucks for you. It's great for guys like us. And guys like us, I mean parents. So hopefully all the teachers are enjoying themselves. And best of luck back in the classroom. Thanks you to all the teachers, obviously, for supporting the youth, teaching them a thing or two. But I'm going to tell you this. I really hope Sonny Gray comes into Cincinnati tomorrow and just gets a little too comfortable. We find a way to take him yard for the first time. And then when we do, you're going to remember that we're still alive. Because all we got to do is get back to 500. Get back to 500, folks. Get back to 500. And you never know what can happen. Wouldn't it be crazy if we end up going to the playoffs? Wouldn't it be crazy? I'm going to go dunk a basketball, but I want you to think on that tonight. Athlete